Welcome, everyone. Today, I have to talk about the Senate and Georgia results. Big news for the Democrats, not so good news for the Republicans. And what does it all mean for real estate and finance? Let's get started. Welcome back, everyone. So, if you haven't seen, as you can see here in the map, the Democrats are likely going to win the Georgia Senate, and with it, there will be a 50-seat Senate to the Republicans and a 50-seat Senate to the Democrats, with the filibuster with Kamala Harris. What does that mean? If a vote is 50-50 and it goes to Kamala Harris for the final vote, the Democrats will likely get what they want. And there's been talk about the idea that even with a majority Democratic Senate, that the Democrats are not likely to pass any sort of more progressive measures or policies. But I tend to disagree. And again, I'm not trying to play politics here. I'm neither a Republican or Democrat. I vote very much moderate. When we look at what this means, though, for the overall economy and for the real estate and finance and what it means for your wallet, I think it's really important to consider what is on the docket, right? Now, if you look at the markets today when it opened, tech took a huge hit. I think the market is expecting the Democrats to come out with more antitrust suits for the Facebook, for Google, for Amazon, Apple, and so forth. So potential headwinds there for the tech companies. However, do keep in mind, these tech companies are primarily Democratic voters. So it would be an interesting situation if the Democrats penalize these companies that tend to support their candidates. So I actually think that's not going to happen. I think that the Democrats will be a lot looser than the Republicans are on the big tech companies. But more importantly, what I think we're going to see from the Democratic Party is a focus on a few things. And this is where you can begin to think about how it's going to impact your portfolio, right? Portfolio meaning real estate and stocks. So for sure, they're going to be focused around climate change and green energy, right? So you're going to see some policies around solar, wind, and some other items, right? So expect oil, energy, fracking, that to be an industry that might not come out ahead. And so again, if that's part of your portfolio, do consider what that means. So definitely climate change and green energy alike, right? I think it's also likely to expect Biden to come out with an infrastructure bill, which I think will be generally good for GDP and the macroeconomics. So that will be good, I think, for the economy, which will likely put more tailwind onto real estate and other assets, right? So another piece too, now that they have the majority across the board, you can expect bigger stimulus packages. I don't think stimulus is going away anytime soon. They will continue to produce more spending bills. So what that means is that that's going to create asset inflation, right? So prices in real estate, likely prices in stocks will continue to lift. So that will be good for those that own real estate and stocks. However, it does likely reduce the value of the dollar. So if you're sitting in cash, that's a big risk to you. You don't want to be in cash in this moment right now. You do want to have your cash deployed in a variety of assets. That's why you're seeing all these assets skyrocket. People don't want to be holding cash. Or if they do hold cash, they put them in assets that are liquid so that they can quickly liquidate the asset to take advantage of whatever deal comes along. So what I'm doing is I have no cash really in the bank. I have them in liquid assets, whether it's very safe dividend paying stocks, private money deals, or some way to create cash flow and preserve at the same time the value of the cash. Okay. So what else? I think it's going to be pretty known that again Biden's going to come out with that first-time home buyer credit. Probably $15,000, even though it should really be tailored towards the developers because the developers are not creating more supply. We don't need more demand stimulus. We need more supply stimulus. But so expect to see more tailwinds on housing from that. Additionally, I think you can expect some student loan forgiveness. It looks like it's going to be the federal policy, which will probably be $10,000 per 1 year of federal service. And that will be applied to federal loans only. To a maximum of 5 years. So up to $50,000 of loan forgiveness on your federal loans. So we'll see how that goes. That's probably going to be on the board here very shortly. Across that, I think you can expect the Jenny Yellen, the treasurer, to be really focused on unemployment and lower income policies, right? Her entire PhD in studies have been around unemployment and how to help those in need out. So expect a lot of safety net policies, policies that help out the lower end of people or the have-nots. I think that'll be a big thing. I think you'll see continued unemployment claims, likely forbearance claims continue, and probably the eviction situation continue through the year. What that means is the landlords that are in, anti-landlord states, such as Vermont, New York, California, are probably in a bad situation. So I think for opportunity, if you're looking in real estate, you're probably looking in these areas that have essentially anti-landlord regulation. So, California, again, Vermont, New York, those places that are going to have people who bought over-levered properties that didn't make much cash flow and that have a high debt service or a high mortgage payment on those properties. They're probably going to be upside down here in a matter of 3 to 6 months. So look for that as well. Generally, though, I think you can also expect a softer China approach than what Trump has had. So we'll see how that pans out. I am in the camp that we do need to be a little more strict on China. So that's an interesting one. And so generally, I think there's going to be some switches here. And there's going to be a lot of spending, a lot of stimulus, and I think the dollar is at risk, while I think assets will continue to increase in price. So all my videos that I talk about appreciation of real estate in my certain markets that I'm in, I think that has more tailwind now, and so expect that to be at the forefront of wealth creation in the next few years. So that's what I just want you all to think, or at least understand from my point of view. It was a shock to some extent that Georgia went blue, and it did. And so it will not be a lame duck president by any means. Now he has full power to do what he wants for the most part. So let's see what happens, and be sure to stay ahead of the headlines and their policy making, because they will affect your portfolio. So until then, I'll see you soon.